a lot of them, that made that bigger space. And the last one was a collaborative space at U Chicago. So that's what I had to say.
My slides are on a timer, so I'm already behind. Let me start over. Okay, great. So I'm going to give you a way to think about student experience, which is this sort of squishy term, but everyone's trying to understand it, improve it, compete on it. And here's a way to do that and to move forward. First, a little background. We're a higher ed strategy firm on a mission to make the student experience more engaging and more equitable. And we think you do that by transforming people, places, and programs at the same time, because what sits at the middle of that is an experience. So you might be thinking, what is an experience? Well, first you have to have a person. No person, no experience. An experience is really taking that person and thinking about what they're interacting with. It could be technology, information, another person, a service, a space, and it happens over time. That creates a touch point. You string those together, you have a journey of some kind, you have someone's experience. So a student experience is really the mosaic or the composite of the kinds of interactions they have with space, with technology, with programs, with each other, and how it affects them. Could be physiologically, could be socially, could be culturally, could be emotionally. And so these are the things we're trying to improve. The problem with student experience is it often gets conflated with other terms, like student success, which is really more like a mindset. It's an approach to putting students first and focusing on their completion, their job placement, or student engagement, which is really how invested students are in their learning as measured by their participation in certain activities. And this is changing a lot because of demographic changes. For instance, 47% of students today are first-gen students in higher ed. 33% are taking one course online. That's growing 6% a year. Student services are 22% more expensive to deliver than they were 10 years ago. So because of those changes and because of this ill definition, there's a lot of things that are broken with the current student experience in higher ed. Could be about equity and inclusion, could be about navigating services, could be about physical and mental health and well-being, could be about completion. Only 60% of students graduate in 6 years in higher ed. So there's something for us to work on. One way to work on it is with this student experience canvas. It's a way of thinking about these different interactions and how to improve it. And it's really made up of the kinds of phases that make up the student journey from applicant to alum and the different things they interact with. You could think of them as channels or facets. So it starts with understanding the person. So it has a persona. You're thinking about that person's not fixed demographics, but their motivations, their behaviors, their expectations. You're trying to create a portrait of different segments of students or segments of the users you're trying to help. Then once you take that persona, you think about how is that journey happening over time. So it starts when they apply, it ends, let's say, or continues on as they're an alum and they affiliate with the school. So first you apply, then you arrive and you adjust, you get oriented, you have to come up with an approach, a major, you advance in that, you attain some credential, then you affiliate. And your touch points, these are the things you're interacting with as a student. It could be technology, it could be your academic programs, your student services, your facilities, the community you're a part of. Maybe you feel like you belong, maybe you don't. That's one of the big issues that's happening in higher ed right now. And you put those together and you get a journey. So here's just a quick example of that in my 20 seconds or so on this. And it's imagining a portrait of someone who's an adult learner, changing fields, going into data science. There's this great community that you're a part of in an emerging cutting-edge field, but there's uneven, let's say, group work with their colleagues. A couple of examples of improving experience. If you think about these different channels, the first one is rethinking a specific program. This was a pre-incubator or an innovation lab we did at University of Rochester, where we imagined or we understood or we uncovered that there were lots of projects students wanted to do to have economic, social, and cultural impact. They needed a place to do it. We also rethought the advising experience at UVA because student services are usually designed with two false assumptions. Students know what help is available, and they're able and comfortable asking for it. That's actually a problem. So if you blend study and support and you meet students where they are and put these kinds of functions all together in a library, you can better meet their needs. You can also improve the technology at a university, thinking about where the gaps are and make services more visible and pull them all together, because often the biggest challenge for students is they don't know where things are, they don't know where to go digitally or physically. We did a project for Portland State to figure out what those pain points were by interviewing people and then coming up with a new portal. You can also improve facilities by thinking about the student experience holistically. This is a project for a liberal arts college where we looked at and created a vision for their student experience in the future using lots of different forums, interviews, observations, and then came up with a playbook of concepts that we got feedback on. And finally, community and culture. Often the antithesis of that at a business school, you think of an insular, wood-paneled, kind of separated place. This is just the opposite, a new business school at Carnegie Mellon, where only 2/3 of the building is business school, the rest is an entrepreneurship center, a cafe, and lots of other functions. And as you think about how you improve student experience, it's really this maturity curve. You start out by making a commitment and saying, we're going to put students first, and at the end, you have a culture of continuous improvement and lots of steps in between. And so a great place to figure out where to go is to figure out where you are. And this is how we suggest you get started. You, in particular, can get started by downloading the Canvas here. It's bit.ly/studx_Canvas. By the way, if you have initials that you think would be a great way to summarize student experience, let us know, because there's UX, there's CX, and SX doesn't work. And so we're open to your ideas. Thanks so much.